Electricity is an awesome form of energy. It can be used to do so many different things. In fact, we can use electricity to turn that energy back into stored chemical potential energy in a more concentrated form. But obviously, we make use of electricity all the times in our everyday lives for so many things, including now increasingly for transportation. And the techniques that we use to make electricity, some of them, if we're burning a fuel like natural gas, then we can just decide to burn more fuel, we'll get more flow of electricity, turn off, stop burning as much, then we'll get less electricity. But if we want to tap into renewable flows of energy such as solar or wind or hydropower, those have their own schedule. The wind, the water flows over the Hoover Dam at a steady rate. Wind blows whether we're needing that electrical energy or not. So the storage of electricity, of electrical energy, is a very important factor of our entire energy picture. We're used to storing energy in batteries, or we're used to batteries at least as forms of stored energy. This is just illustrating another type of stored electrical energy called a capacitor. I have 3 capacitors here and a power supply. So I'm going to apply a voltage to these capacitors, and what it's doing is inside these canisters there are really long ribbons of metal that are separated by a thin film so that they're not in contact with each other, and I'm putting a positive charge on one piece of metal and a negative charge on the other piece of metal, and they're very long and wrapped up in a spiral inside each of these cans. And the reason they're big is the bigger they are, the more charge I can store on them. So I'm essentially, it's not like a battery because it's not using chemistry to keep the charges separated. It's just using the physical space. So one piece of metal with a bunch of positive charge on it and another piece with a bunch of negative charge on it. So after I've charged it up for a bit, the capacitors are charged up here with some charge. I can throw a switch and I can allow that charge to run through from the positive pieces of metal inside here through the wires, through this light bulb, causing it to glow, and back to the negative piece of wires so that now the charge is neutralized. So that's my electrical circuit there. And I didn't store very much electrical energy. And also you notice that the light bulb was very bright initially. Let's charge it up again. It was very bright initially, and then it rapidly faded so that the rate of flow of electricity through it wasn't constant, which means that the voltage that was available there was not constant. And so let's take a look at that again. We'll just discharge through the light bulb, very bright initially, and then it rapidly fades, so the current is dropping. One of the disadvantages of capacitors compared to batteries, if I discharge it more quickly, let's charge this thing up again, and we're again putting a lot of positive charge on one piece of metal, a lot of negative charge on the other piece of metal, and rather than discharge the capacitor through this thin filament of the light bulb, I'm going to discharge it through this large filament, this large piece of metal that is the this screwdriver. So I think I've put enough charge on there, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this piece of metal, and that was all of that electrical energy jumping from one of the metal plates in there to the other. These 3 are all connected. So I discharged all of that electrical energy at once. So that's just a way to show that we can store electrical energy in various ways and we can discharge it in different ways. The more practical means of charging and discharging and storing electrical energy is batteries, which we're used to from many of our devices that have rechargeable batteries. There's limits on how much energy we can store in a battery, which is why in the course and in the book we're talking about ways that you can store huge amounts of energy by doing things like, for example, pumping water up a hill into a mountaintop reservoir and then letting that water run through a dam overnight.